anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. I'm thankful that you are with us. It is Thursday, February the 2nd. Now we're in a new month, a new day, and so I just got to get used to what day and what month it is. February. It was the first day of February yesterday. Kick off Black History Month, everyone. So in case you weren't aware of that, there's many activities and many celebrations going on around the city to celebrate that. We'll talk about some of them today. And we'll have your comments as well. This is your show on your station, 96.7 FM, also cklu.ca. You can stream us anytime. You can download the Radio Player Canada app on cklu.ca and take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. Also streaming at Facebook Live, facebook.com/Sudbury News, YouTube Live at youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow, and mainly comment on the show as you have something that that comes to your mind and on something that we're talking about, something you feel passionate about, something that you just want to contribute to the conversation. All comments welcome. And so this is your show, and we are facilitating a community conversation on a community radio station and also on all social media platforms that we could get our hands on. And with that, thank you to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all the social media platforms that allow us and make it possible for us to broadcast and to get the conversation out to the community. And so this is, we've been doing this, it'll be a year next month. So we're almost at our year mark. Can you believe that? And a good time to welcome Billy on. He's usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Good morning, Billy. How you doing?
Yeah, good morning.
So can you believe that? Almost a year already.
It feels in some ways like a lot longer. You know how I don't mean that as a bad way, but some measures of time when you're like,
yeah.
But this is one of those things that, it makes, it gives more life in the year, I guess.
Yeah, it reminds me of when, some people ask, well, how long have you been married for? I said, well, been married for about 20 years, but feels longer though. So it's just one of those, that's what it reminded me of. Anyways, but just joking. So, but yeah, it does again, right? It just feels like something we've always been doing. Is that what you kind of mean? It just kind of feels like.
No, I think the whole year's generally felt like when I look sort of like where it was this time last year to here, it's like, wow, that's a lot of
things.
A lot of things.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Normally it would take like 3 or 4 years for that amount of things to take place.
I think you're exactly right. I feel the same way as you. And it's one of those things that in some ways it feels long, in some ways it feels short at the same time, right? So, yeah. And with that, good morning, David. Thanks for checking in with us each and every morning. Glad to have you on. And again, just looking forward to this conversation today. There's a lot to talk about. There's a weather warning we'll get to right away. There's also some sports that happened last night in our community. And there's a lot of news headlines as usual. So let's dive right in, and we'll be back right after this. Sudbury weather brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. Like we said, there is a weather warning, so let's get to that right now. Currently, it's minus 9 degrees, feels like minus 17, but there is a warning for greater Sudbury and vicinity. Brief, intense snowfall is expected to develop. Under the snow squall, visibilities will be significantly reduced due to the heavy snow hazards, sudden whiteout conditions, and heavy snow and local blowing snow. Snowfall accumulations 2 to 5 centimeters in an hour or two. So the timing when this will happen will be this morning and afternoon. So I believe later in the morning. So snow squalls, if you aren't aware, if you're driving, it can make visibility very almost impossible. And so if you don't have to travel, then, try and thwart your plans and make different plans. But if you have to, just be careful, stay safe. With the snow squalls and the heavy winds, the wind chill values are going to be extremely cold. Bitterly cold air will follow in the wake of the front that's coming through that's causing the extreme weather today. Wind chill values expected tonight and into Friday morning. And they could get as bad as minus 44, below zero. So today, mainly cloudy, 30% chance of flurries early in the morning. Flurries heavy at times, as we talked about. Changing to 30% chance of flurries in the afternoon. Risk of snow squalls late in the morning and early afternoon. Local blowing snow late this morning and early afternoon, 2 to 4 centimeters or 2 to 5 centimeters, according to Environment Canada. Heavy wind gusts during this time as this front is moving in. High of minus 5. Temperature falling to minus 12 this afternoon. Wind chill minus 13. And then going to minus 25 this afternoon. So it's going to be cold this morning, but even colder this afternoon. Tonight, partly cloudy, 30% chance of flurries. Early this evening, wind will be its regular 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. The low minus 31. So it'll be the coldest day of the year tonight. And like we said, minus 44, getting up to minus 44 with the wind chill overnight. Friday, with the cold weather usually brings, clearer weather, sunny, wind becoming northwest, 30 kilometers, gusting to 50 in the morning, high of minus 22, wind chill minus 44 in the morning, and minus 30 in the afternoon. So we have a cold Friday. Did I say enough colds? Anyways, extended forecast. Again, minus 22 is your high on Friday, but it's sunny. And then Saturday, it's getting warmer, but with that, there's a 60% chance of flurries. Sunday, same thing, minus 3, even warmer, and the same percentage chance of flurries, 60%. Monday, minus 6, cloudy, minus 1, even warmer on Tuesday, but with a 70% chance of flurries. So it looks like we're getting extreme cold to the point where, it's dangerous tomorrow, and then starting to get warmer, but the flurries roll in after that. So you have to be punished one way or the other. There's no doubt about it. So look at your satellite view over northern Ontario. A lot of clearing happening. And you got the clouds rolling in, just like what we talked about. And that is your Sudbury weather with the warning, just to be careful out there, cold. And then, first of all, snow squalls with the new front moving in, heavy snow, treacherous driving conditions, 2 to 5 centimeters. And then after that, extreme cold for tomorrow. So brace yourself, prepare for it. And that is your Sudbury weather, brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. We'll be back with a little bit of sports and headlines and Billy after this. Sudbury Sports, brought to you by SudburySports.com. That is Randy Pascal's sports website. He is that Sudbury sports guy. He's been reporting sports since 1840. A long time. Anyways, no, he's not that old. But he's been reporting sports for as long as I can remember. Anyways, he used to have his sports report on Eastlink. And now he's a freelance sports reporter, along with being the Sudbury Wolves official historian and many, many other things. He has time in his day to report on all things sports, and SudburySports.com sponsors our sports segment. And this is pretty cool news. Rookie of the Month for the NHL, former Sudbury Wolves goaltender Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Say that 10 times fast. Congratulations, Ukko, for your Rookie of the Month. Pretty great honor for that. His record is 6-2-1 in the month, 3.05 goals against, and 0.907 save percentage. So right on. Look at that. Former Sudbury Wolf in the news. Last night's game, though, didn't end so well for the Sudbury Wolves. They had a 5-1 loss against their Highway 17 rivals, the North Bay Battalion. Crazy game, lots of fighting, lots of penalties. We were missing our best players, and it showed at the end of the day in the results of the game. So 5-1 is the loss. We are pretty much second to last in the standings, and so we need to start getting some W's, and hopefully we'll have our top players back sooner than later to be able to make a playoff run anyways. But an interesting night last night. It was Tessa Benham. It's International Women in Sports Day yesterday, and Tessa Benham was on hand for the ceremonial puck drop, and basically she was available during the second intermission, as we talked about yesterday on the show, for meeting fans and chatting with them. And so in that regard, it was a great night last night, but just not in the score. The score was 5-1 for the North Bay Battalion. Anyways, next game goes ahead Friday at the barn here in Sudbury. Make sure to be there, as Mark Stahl's number will be retired, and it'll be a great night. And then Sunday, we're also playing in town. Make sure to get out, support the Wolves. They need our support, as we do need to really get some W's in order to make a run for the playoffs. Not impossible. It is possible, but we got to work hard and get her done, and we can do our part by being at the game. Get your tickets at greatersudbury.ca/tickets or visit sudburywolves.com. Sudbury Sports, brought to you by sudburysports.com. We'll be back with headlines and conversation with Billy and all you all right after this. All right, and we are back with the headlines of the day shared on our Sudbury News Facebook page. The stories that we anticipate talking about, we don't always get to them, and sometimes we get to other stories as well, as the conversation just organically kind of takes shape. It seems like the news, we were talking about this before we came on, right, Billy? But the news seems to have every single day some type of organic theme it just kind of rolls into, and it creates the flavor for the show, which is really interesting. Mm-hmm. I almost don't understand it, but it is what it is.
Could be, is that a cosmic thing, or is it, people on the ground kind of thing?
I don't know. It just seems, it just kind of takes care of itself. And yeah, so good for us. And good morning, Diane. Thanks for being with us. Bon matin. En français, oui. Appreciate that. And thanks for being with us. Just, again, all those that are watching live, make sure to comment, because this is your conversation on your station. Also, if you're coming in afterwards, you could also leave comments. It's just that they won't get on air, and we'll make sure to get as many comments on air as possible. So speaking of headlines and speaking of news making itself, and here's the top one. I just saw it this morning. Man charged after walking around in downtown Sudbury with a knife. Says he was on drugs at the time. Now, I did open the story.
Yeah, he says he stabbed a building.
Oh, so really? He stabbed a building.
Drugs would explain that.
Okay.
Said something about he was looking for his daughter for about 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And had consumed some drugs, specifically methamphetamine. Yeah,
well, that would explain a lot, for sure. Well, he apologized for his actions, and and said basically it was the drugs, which I would tend to have no problem agreeing with. 41 years old. Dennis.
That's unnerving if you're walking around downtown with your family or whatever, and that you see that kind of thing. So,
for sure,
definitely don't want that.
Just looking for his name. I know his last name. They'll use Danielle Riddell. 41 years old, pleaded guilty to possession of a weapon and being dangerous to the public. So here we need to call for the banning, I think, of knives, is what this story says to me. Knives are very dangerous. People can just easily grab one. See how easy this was? And the building that he stabbed, I mean, we could stop all kinds of incidents like that if we just ban knives altogether. What do you think, Billy?
Yeah, I see where you're going with that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
Easy and accessible, too, to get for everybody. You don't even need a license for these knives.
yeah. I think that's
You know,
No,
think about it. Or maybe, no, this is what I think. I think we need to make drugs illegal. Because look how he was on drugs, right? So if we make drugs illegal, it'll solve the problem. No?
Yeah, I think what you're alluding to is probably a good case for, like, we see a lot of very almost one-sided arguments, especially in the media, where there's what's the word? You can't really almost can't engage in the conversation because it's such a it's this way or shut up about it.
So logic goes out the window when you have these conversations. Is that what you're saying? There's no logic to it?
Well, I'm just saying there's not much of a conversation
No.
because it's hard to.
It's an emotional conversation rather than a logical one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so here I'm trying to use the same logic to a different thing with the same type of results. So you have a dangerous weapon. So what do you want to do with the dangerous weapon? You want to ban it, make it illegal, and then it'll stop it from happening.
Yeah, I think it kind of illustrates that we have to approach that issue at the other end of the spectrum. As a society, probably be a little more preventative in just situations where people would want to take a gun and do something bad with it.
Oh, I didn't say anything about guns. Oh, you're talking about guns? Oh, okay. Just kidding.
We're cutting to the chase.
Just kidding. Yeah, I never mentioned it though. Just so you know, I just thought we could use the same logic to people that will say that we need to, have tighter laws and ban more firearms to get the results that we want, when really the ones that are using these firearms are mainly getting them in illegal ways. And also we tried making drugs illegal, but what happens then? There's a black market and people still use them and we're not able to stop it. So what? Let's use logic. I think logic is great. Isn't logic still able to be used? I'm not sure. Can we still be logical?
Yeah, I think those are great points.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of drugs, see what I mean about these theme days? There's just a theme all the time. Sudbury ratepayers or taxpayers still paying for drug consumption site. That is our drug consumption site here in the city. New Democrat MPPs concerned the Ontario government has still not stepped up to provide funding for the consumption site at Energy Court. Until the Ontario government steps up and provides funding for the supervised drug consumption site in Sudbury, the burden of paying for that facility will continue to be picked up at the expense of local taxpayers. So what question comes to your mind, Billy, when we just read this little beginning of the story? Any question come to your mind?
I guess the first thing came to my mind is well, it's either from this pool or that pool that the money's going to come from. Either it comes from a local, locally collected and paid, or, I guess a larger body, a bigger pool, the Ontario pool of taxpayers.
What a great point you make. So either way, it's your tax money, whether it's our tax money locally or our tax money provincially.
I think we notice it and feel the pinch a little bit more when it's local.
Yeah. So you ever think to yourself, man, we have lots of taxes? Have you ever thought of that once? Have you ever crossed your mind?
Yeah, it's a pretty common occurrence with me.
There are a lot of taxes, and eventually, and you know how taxes are always going up? Because they have to,
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting phenomenon when you look at all the different layers of it. How it comes kind of off your paycheck, and then everything you spend gets taxed, and then it's just they keep skimming this thing multiple times, so that by the end of it,
Yeah.
what are we actually
Yeah.
left with? Like, probably less than half.
Do you think they've ever thought, like, eventually they're going to not have anything left for us to tax? Do you think that ever crossed anyone's mind? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I think they think about it. I think
Not
there's
sure.
large contingency plans for that.
So that was a good point you made. You said, okay, either it's going to come from Ontario tax money, which is our money anyways, or local tax money, which is, I guess, a larger percentage if it's local because there's less to draw from, and it's going to, percentage-wise, it's going to be more of our tax money going towards this thing. But what crossed my mind was, why did you go ahead and start it if you didn't have the money?
Yeah, I think it even mentions that they didn't get approval for it. Like the government didn't say they were going to pay for it. So we might be stuck with it.
Even though the MPPs are saying, why isn't the province stepping up? It says that the province never really okayed it, never really said they were going to fund it.
Let me double check that.
Yeah, because that would be important.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would definitely be important to know. Jeanlin said that there are 8 supervised consumption sites in Ontario that do get funding, mostly in larger cities in southern Ontario. She said currently there is a cap on new funding consumption sites, but added there are several communities that need them and want them.
I think that's where I extrapolated that.
West said in recent years, the province has made it harder for consumption sites to open, which he blamed on regulatory hurdles. So why would you go ahead and open it anyways if you were expecting the money, and then you would know there was a chance you weren't going to get it anyways, and so here we are, right? And then they said the other day that somehow they made a mistake and some 60-odd people were at risk because they were using used needles. Like the people that are running this thing were giving out used needles to people, and so now they're at risk of HIV, hepatitis C, and whatever. So are we looking at that at all and holding some people accountable of who's running the consumption site to begin with? Not only just, why isn't the province giving us money because we went ahead and started it before we had the money anyways? I don't know. I'm just questioning things. I'm just a citizen of this community asking questions.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have some kind of publicly accessible fact sheet where all these answers could be laid out bare.
And is the science in these are the solution for communities, as Jelena and West are claiming, that these consumption sites, it's science that they do make the community better in all kinds of ways, or whatever it's there for? So first of all, you'd have to ask me, what is the purpose of a consumption site? What is the goal of it? What's the end game? Where does it place in terms of a person's, is it there to be a piece of the puzzle for rehabilitation, which I think we all agree on is the right solution for someone who's addicted to drugs? Would be, if you were going to help them, wouldn't it be the end goal be rehabilitation? So if that was it, and if it's not it, then I have a problem with it. And if it is it, well, where's the next steps, and how does it fit into that, and what's the plan? Yes or no, or maybe?
Yeah, I agree. And I don't know. I think there was a okay.
he's editing his thoughts at the moment. He's filtering.
I'm just realizing it's probably going to turn into a really long kind of thing, but it's there's this thing going. It's kind of articulated really well in Rolling Stone magazine, and it's basically the idea. It illustrates how basically agendas get adopted and people get taken for a ride. And you can see that it'd be there in a lot of times situation like this where they just can't see, like, this doesn't make sense. Why is this going this way? Yeah. But there's a good reason for it. We're just under the radar. And again, we're asking the questions, right? So I guess Natalie Labby said she would come on the show and talk about the fire station emergency services situation that we're in the city. And so maybe when we have her on, we'll have to also kind of put a couple sub questions, because I know she was pretty up on the consumption site and sounded like she was
very knowledgeable about it. So let's put that off until then, because we can. And I guess I was remiss in mentioning that Boreal and Cambrian are hosting the Ontario Badminton Championships this weekend. We did mention it on the show before, but it's going ahead Friday and Saturday between Boreal and Cambrian. So that's pretty cool. Now, remember we talked about this is what is it? What's the official name? Black History Month. Yeah, that's the official name for it. So the Dragon's Den star, who's on Dragon's Den, is going to be speaking what is it today? 2nd, so Saturday, at a gala at the Steelworkers Hall in commemoration of Black History Month. And it says, what does February mean to you? For many, it's love. For some, thoughts turn to Black History Month. And for others, it's an immersion month for Oscar-nominated films. No matter what your passion, February is a busy month for the arts in Sudbury. So all kinds of things going on. During Black History Month, Canadians celebrate the achievements and contribution of Black Canadians. In Sudbury, the Afro Heritage Association is hosting a gala event February 4th at the Steelworkers Hall with Afro-Caribbean food, showcases, a live band, and dancing. Special guest is author, businessman, and entrepreneur Wes Hall, best known as a Dragon Den investor and on the Canadian edition of the reality television show Dragon's Den. Tickets, $35. Oh, they go from $35 to $100 and can be purchased at everbright.ca and are available through Northern Ontario Black Economic Empowerment Program, or the NOBEEP, 73 Elm Street. For more information, phone 705-988-0413. So there you have it.
Is that show still going, Dragon's Den?
It is, as far as I know.
Show.
Great show.
When I had TV.
Well, you can still get it on YouTube, I'm sure. If you look up Dragon's Den, I'm sure they have the shows there.
All right, I'll take a look.
But Diane made an interesting comment. Remember we were talking about banning of firearms is a thing, and if you take anything and try and ban, you know what I mean? Like you can use all kinds of things. Mm-hmm. Like drugs are banned, but they're still used. Guns are banned. The banned guns are still being used, right? So if you ban them, doesn't mean you're not still going to use them. So banning them, what does it do? Diane says scissors and mirrors you might have to ban as well. You know, because they could be used for things other than cutting things like paper or looking at yourself doing your makeup. So pandemic fails to curtail its research efforts, Cambrian College says.
Yeah, doing a lot of research there.
So they generated $2.7 million in research funding in 2020 and 2021. And continue to be a real leader in research and development, especially for business. For the 11th year in a row, Cambrian College has made the list of Canada's top 50 research colleges.
Well, especially in the mining field, eh? It's
Definitely.
Perfect,
But what question comes to your mind, Billy, when you read, for the 11th year in a row, Cambrian College has made the list for the top 50 research colleges in Canada? Any question come to your mind at all, or?
I can't say anything really pops out with a lot of pop to it.
How many research colleges do you think there are in Canada?
I'm going to say at least 50.
You're close. You're close. I've always wondered why they use that line. It's like saying, you know, I don't know. There's not many more than 50, put it that way, research colleges in Canada. But we made the list of top 50. Maybe just someone had to say it, I guess. I'm not sure. I just got to be that guy to say it. The list is compiled every year by Research InfoSource Inc., which ranks colleges based on such factors as research activity, research revenue generated, and use of student researchers. The latest ranking covers the 2021 fiscal year, the first full year of the COVID pandemic. Cambrian placed 36th overall in Canada and ranked 4th in the country among medium-sized colleges. Oh, so it's not even all colleges, it's medium-sized ones. For use of paid student researchers, Cambrian also generated $2.7 million in research funding, as we already said. Kristen Morrissey, Vice President, Cambrian International Finance and Administration and Applied Research, said in a release, "This is amazing news and truly does speak to the strength and dedication of our team here at Cambrian R&D. Congratulations to Cambrian for making the top 50 research colleges in Canada for the list for the 11th year in a row." On that subject of educational institutions in our city, today, or at least this week, marks the 1-year anniversary of, the 2-year anniversary of Laurentian declaring insolvency 2 years ago today, or yesterday. February 1st, 2021, Laurentian University became the first publicly funded university in Canada to file for protection under the Companies Creditor Protection Act. Laurentian's journey under the CCAA was to last the rest of 2021 as well as most of 2022 for a total of 22 months in all. The process, which Ontario Auditor General Bonnie Lysyk said Laurentian never needed to enter it in the first place, included mass layoffs, program cancellations, the severing of ties with the federated universities operating on campus, resulting in even more layoffs and program cancellations, and a plan of arrangement that will see LU creditors receive only roughly 14 to 24 cents per dollar of what they were owed over the next 3 years, with Laurentian being the first publicly funded university or public university in Canada to attempt to restructure its operation using a process designed as a last resort for private companies. The situation has attracted national media attention and resulted in damage to Laurentian's reputation. Really? I would think it would definitely damage the reputation. The university excited the CCAA minus booth, CCAA minus, both its recent president, Robert Hache, and Prévost, Mary-Josée Berger, who departed last year as part of the terms of Laurentian's plan of arrangement. So they were basically forced out. So do you agree with that Laurentian University's brand or public, persona would have been damaged through a bankruptcy, Billy?
I'm thinking that's pretty evident at this point. I think their numbers are down a little bit.
Yeah. A lot of students, too, were in the second year of a 4-year program, had to make other arrangements and go to other universities and scramble. I fortunately was able to, and they had some really great people at Laurentian that helped me obtain my degree as I was in my final year, luckily, and were very helpful. But again, I was lucky and not many other people were. And so I have nothing but good things to say about the people that were working with me to help me in that respect. However, huge black eye on the university itself. And in that report, it was scathing, talking about the then president, Dominic Giroux, who is the now president of HSN here in Sudbury. Do you think that enough has been done to look into that and to, do you think accountability, we've had accountability in that regard, Billy, at all?
Well, again, I haven't looked into it that much, but I'm going to assume that that's probably not the case. So you've looked into it quite a bit. Have you found out any details from the report?
Well, from a statement from Dominic Giroux, we will read it right now.
All right.
That was your statement from Dominic Giroux, current CEO and president of the HSN here in Sudbury, our hospital. So what do you think about Dominic Giroux's statement on what happened at Laurentian? Any comments?
What did his spokesperson say?
Oh, his spokesperson said he's great, doing a great job, nothing but great things, raising all kinds of capital project money, which is the thing that he was in hot water for at Laurentian University, going into debt to get those capital projects. But that's what the spokesperson said of the hospital. But Dominic Giroux himself, we haven't heard anything from. Reporters reaching out to him and never asked him. I remember there was an interview with him, with the CBC morning show host, Marcus Schwabe. Never asked him any hard questions about it. And this was shortly after. They just basically acted as if nothing happened. So, yeah.
No, I think you're onto something. There's, yeah.
Should we at least hear a statement from him? Do you think he owes that? Is there any kind of, should you own up to anything there or what?
That seems reasonable. I wonder why there's a tendency not to do that. Is it to protect what still exists kind of thing? It's like, well, if we dig into it, it's going to be, cause more harm to this already sort of battered ship. But
that's true.
But I think our society does that a lot. And you end up having a case where, like you say, there's over a long term, if you don't have this accountability because of that sort of mindset, then you just have problems that fester and never get resolved.
Yeah, exactly. Well, when you say something, you could even make it worse, right? If you said something and then you'll be trapped in your words. And that's why a lot of people just no comment. It's so prevalent in our society today that we feel we don't have to be accountable to the people that we serve. It's incredible. Talking with a friend of mine the other night, leadership, right? So you can look at yourself as in power, or you can look at yourself as being responsible. Two different sides of a leadership styles or characteristics of you as a leader. So some people get in leadership positions and immediately they feel power over other people. They feel like they can then get them to do things and command them and make laws and look what I can make people do. They feel a sense of power. And that's most of our leaders today from what I see. Then there's the other type of leader, same position, but a different person in that same position will feel responsibility for those they're serving, and will then say, what can I do to help you, the people I serve, do your job better? Not how can I feel power over you? Same position, same job title, same responsibilities on paper, but just a different mindset from people. And I find we have more of the people that like the power more than feel the responsibility of their leadership and what they're over kind of thing. So I just, again, my hat's off to anyone in a leadership position when there's a problem to come out and say, I screwed up. I'm sorry. Remember that used to be the thing. And you knew, even though they were disingenuous comments, someone got caught doing something right away at the press conference, tears. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it. I'll never do it again. Remember all those?
Mm-hmm.
Remember the U.S. president, Bill Clinton? Deny. Finally, Bill, it's obvious. Everyone knows. Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I brought it up before, but I think that scene about the two letters kind of, I think is sort of symbolic of that, where people in leadership, quite often they'll have they might be a bit of a figurehead to the power around them. But basically they have two sort of get out of jail frees. The first thing is to sort of blamed the administration or something before.
Yeah.
And then when something big happens again, you know, they gotta fall on the sword and, you know, pass it on to the next person.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that is what it is. Now, I know Diane's saying that basically he went on a spending spree. And basically it's like a hole in his pocket type of thing. Just trying to get my screen back here because my Mac is doing weird stuff.
All right. I'm going to take another stab at it because it kind of relates to this, I think, in a way where, you know, there's this sort of corporate takeover technique that I think you see it in a lot of governments and stuff. They used it, you know, the IMF sort of did it in a lot of third world countries, and arguably it's happening in first world countries right now. But that is where this, like Bain Capital, this was the article that was on, and it would go to a smaller company and offer them a bunch of capital, but essentially it would put them so deeply in debt, and they would get the leadership to spend like crazy. They would even have a say in the spending. They would put the company in a very bad position. They'd have to start cutting the jobs, and eventually the company would go bankrupt, or, you know, be sold off for pennies on the dollar. And it was sort of revealed after the fact that this company, this Bain Capital, was working for a larger sort of parent sister company.
Yep.
And its whole intention was to destroy or have this company be assimilated by another one. And so I think, but the people who are in that system at the time would just think that, their leadership is just making a bunch of bad decisions. And but again, it's not... There was more going on to that. Yeah,
all part of the plan, basically.
It's, you know, that's the corporate cutthroat world.
Yep. And we did learn that from Laurentian University. It was done on purpose, and Dominic Giroux was part of that being done on purpose to bankrupt the first and only university to ever go bankrupt in Canada. Was part of that, the decision making to say, yeah, go ahead. He was the captain of the ship. We talked about captains not going down with their ships the other day, and definitely Dominic Giroux did the exact same thing that the captain did of the what was the name of the cruise line again that went down near Italy?
Concordia. The
Concordia, yeah. The captain gets off and gets into the boat, and he's trying to get off first, basically. And so Dominic Giroux, basically, as the captain of the ship, that was a cowardice move. Can I come out and say that? It's kind of cowardly as a leader. You're being cowardly by not addressing it and not taking accountability for it. Are people thinking the same thing, or is it just me? Is it just me? I don't know. It doesn't seem like it. Anyone I talk to, it's exactly the same. I don't hear it publicly, though. I don't hear anyone saying it publicly. But we need accountability. We need captains of the ship to go down with their ships like they used to, because they had integrity at one point in time. Incompetence was the word that Bonnie Lysyk used for the leadership of Laurentian University. Incompetent. And I think she was right. And I think we see a lot of that in the city leadership as well. And before we get to that point in the city, maybe we need accountability. We need an audit to see where we're at. We talked about that yesterday. And let's start taking control, taking our city, taking our institutions, and holding these captains of these ships accountable. Don't let them get off on the first lifeboat that takes off. You know what I mean? And let them do it. Like, that just makes no sense. Everyone that was involved needs to be accountable. Yes, thank you, Judy, for sure. Diane says yes. 100% agree. Thank you, Monique. And Judy, they should have all been arrested. Okay, there you go. Exactly. So I'm not the only one. I appreciate that. Now, here's someone who is taking accountability, and I'm kind of scared about it. Our next story comes out. One last word from Diane. Yes, leadership, captain, at fault, incompetence. All those words we just mentioned. So there was a scare, and rightfully so. Anyone who drank tap water in Espanola Tuesday night could get sick. right? So the Sudbury Star article says anyone who's drank the water in the last month should basically be leery. And I'm not sure why they said that. Then they went on to just say the story that was between 10:25 and like 8:15 in the morning, something like this. 10:15 on Tuesday night and yesterday morning, 8:30 a.m. If you've drank the water in between that time, they had a mishap in their water treatment plant, and there could be some parasite in the water that could cause diarrhea and all kinds of stuff. If you were in Espanola and drank the water between those hours, I definitely encourage you to just read all that information. I know most of our viewers and listeners are in Sudbury, and so I'll just mention that anyways. And so, again, something happens. They say it publicly. There needs to be an inquiry. Whoever was responsible needs to be retrained or whatever, or fix the equipment. This is just kind of normal stuff. It's okay to admit if there's someone made a mistake. And in the sense of Dominic Giroux and everyone involved in Laurentian University, you can come out and say you made a mistake. It's okay. We all know you did. It's not a secret. And then you can face consequences, and should. Just like everyone, all the things you did in one fell swoop, you would gain what's called respect. You would get respect. Even if you lost your positions that you have, and I know you have a great pension you don't have to worry about, and believe me, retirement's great, and you can take all kinds of vacation. You don't even need to come into the office. And you would then have respect with two really large pensions, gravy train for you, and respect. But right now you don't have any of it. You don't have any respect from anyone. And I'll tell you, the spokesperson for the hospital doesn't have respect for you either. Even though he said it. Do you like having people around you like that are saying they have respect for you, even though they don't have any respect for you whatsoever? They're saying that because they want their job. Because they're afraid to lose their job if they say anything else. And these type of leaders who need people around them like that, and in one just statement of, I screwed up, I am sorry, I will face whatever consequences there are. And you know what? You might not even get any, because there's enough corrupt people out there that'll say, Dominic, don't worry, you're one of us. Don't worry, as long as you say sorry, you'll still keep your job, because that's the kind of world we live in. But you'd get the respect of people. Imagine that, respect. Remember Schindler's List, Billy, the movie?
Yes.
And Schindler was talking about that to that guy who just loved killing people in the camp. And he's saying, you know what? Next time you go to shoot someone, say, I forgive you. Say, I forgive. And then he's like, what the heck? It was very foreign for him to even hear something like this. It's like, what is that? What is forgive? What does that even mean? He goes, then that person will listen to everything you say from then on. He goes, really? He will respect you. And that's even better than power. The fact they respect you and they'll do what you say, not because they fear you, but because they respect you and they'll do whatever you say. And he was getting the concept. And he actually went out and didn't shoot the next person. And he kind of thought, okay, how does this feel? This new thing I'm feeling here. I didn't shoot him. He should be grateful now and he should respect me. But that only lasted for a short period of time. He had to shoot the next guy. He couldn't really grasp that concept. Do you remember that part in the movie?
I don't really remember. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, but it was cool.
But the other angle probably should mention here too is it could be vindicating for him, right?
Yeah.
It could show that he did everything right. And
true.
This was a situation caused by these other factors that, because we do hear a lot of, it's one of those things, there's probably a lot of causes to this thing. It's hard to...
So you're saying he could say, look, the lawyers were telling us I was just following legal advice. It wasn't really, I was just taking all the experts, the board, but then he's bringing everyone down with him if he says that too, right? At the same time?
Well, we want a clear picture of what's going on, and I think, I hear a bit of the other story where, it was, the unions were fighting to keep these classes going where there's like one student for, and all these high-priced professors, classes of one student, and, and management's trying to shut them down, saying we can't, this is untenable.
Yeah.
But so I think, you're going to have to look at like all these things and these lessons carry forward so that the future we can look at that and go, yeah, that was untenable if that was the case, Well,
I can always count on you, Billy, for giving the other side, which is true. So maybe it was writing on the wall. The way we're structured right now, there's no help for us anyways. So we might as well build up for the future. And the only way to do that is to do all these capital projects, go totally in the hole. We know we're going to go bankrupt. There is a bit of a loophole. And it said the lawyers were giddy telling the leadership this, saying, look, there is a way out of this and it's this way. And again, I don't 100% disagree. That's the thing, like you said, but it's public perception, right? Mm-hmm. So even having these conversations, how at the same time, not saying anything doesn't look good for somebody, because then you allow other people to fill in the blanks. And when you're allowing other people to fill in the blanks, you're going to, it's susceptible to all kinds of things. Yeah. So, and if you are a CEO, you should be well-spoken. You should be able to stand on your feet and be a leader and talk.
Yeah. Yeah. And we do know that there was actually some, misappropriation, money that was supposed to be contained for certain things kind of spilled over, was used for other things. So there's definitely some evidence that, that wrongdoing happened.
For sure.
But like you say, I think, generally speaking, we have an accountability problem and, transparency would be nice.
Transparency and accountability. The new buzzwords that citizens all over the world are asking for. Will we get it tonight at 6? Just kidding. Tomorrow at 7:30 is what it'll be. Last story, we talk about shock as Sudbury School Board cancels drag show. This we talked about yesterday. Sudbury.com does the... a little blurb on it. Rainbow pandering to politics by nixing drag show, student says. The Rainbow School Board has announced this week the board has officially decided it will not be hosting a drag event that was supposed to take place at Llewellyn Park Secondary School February 10th. The show in question is called Courage Across Canada Tour, features the Drag Race Canada's contestants along with other drag performers. It is presented by International Day of Pink. The tour will be visiting 10 communities and all that. But anyways, so I heard that Collège Boreal picked them up and said, you can do the show here instead. So they have a place to go and do their show. What do you think? I don't know. So that is our show today. Sudbury News Talk on CKLU. Thank you all for being with us. And thank you, Billy, especially.
Thank you.
Most appreciative, Billy, a huge part of getting this show off the ground and making sure that it's still going, and huge contributor, and is going to go down in history as co-founder to be able to make sure this thing, not that that's a high station or anything like that.
But I appreciate that.
And I appreciate you, and I appreciate all of you all for listening and commenting on the show. Thanks for being with us. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow on the same great station, your station, CKLU 96.7 FM, Facebook Live, YouTube Live. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU. See y'all. Stay warm and stay safe. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.